Ready and full of cashews. Let's do
Hey,
it.
hey, hey, internets, here we are. It's time for D&D. Welcome to the Wily Hobbit Twitch channel, the Wily Hobbit network of gaming. Wow, that sounds powerful and important and influential, doesn't it? The Wily Hobbit network of gaming. Nice. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for the resub there, Chris. Appreciate that very much. And Thistle Britches. I love that name. That is awesome. I'm glad I don't have any britches made of thistle, but welcome and thanks for the follow. So we're going to play some 5th edition D&D tonight. We have one player who may yet be joining us, Abby, who plays Shokoli. As you can see, her box is dark. And if she does arrive, we may take a quick break so that we can get her cam lined up and get her into the game. But at any rate, let me just hit some quick announcements and some housekeeping. Shannon and Misery, both, if you want to have the little hobbit guy for your little figure there, you can click on your name and adjust your appearance, and you can choose which little badges appear. You've got more badges than are able to be shown in the chat, so you can go in there and kind of mess with your appearance. I think if you right click on your name or something. But at any rate, what you have there, it shows that you're one of the first subscribers to the channel. So thank you both for that support. We sure appreciate it. So, announcements. This Sunday, we'll be playing some more Pathfinder First Edition in our newest game on the channel, Greyhawk Tales. Wu-Tang Piglet DMs that. I think we're going to be down a player for a few weeks while Max is on vacation, but we're going to limp along without her. So 1 p.m. Sunday, we've got that. And then announcement, you're hearing it here first. We have a new game starting on Monday in the 7 p.m. time slot, Mysteries in the Dalelands. So we got 6 PCs. A handful of whom, a few of them are new to streamed Dungeons & Dragons, and some of them are seasoned veterans. Some of them have DM'd. Fellowship of the Tables, Andrew, good to see you, buddy. He's in that game. So really excited about that. It's set in the Dalelands in Dagger Falls, Faerun, Forgotten Realms. So that'll be 7 o'clock Monday. So we'll be 3 really fun games, 3 really great groups of players, and 2 okay DMs. And then a really good DM on Sunday with Wu-Tang. So yeah, we're stoked for that. So let's go around the horn and meet the team. Let's start down in the cold air conditioning. Your friend and mine, Miss Sabrina, playing Bryphon.
Hi, I'm Sabrina. I play Gryphon, level 2 Wood Elf Ranger. She is also the companion protector of Lulu, so yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you two kind of work well together. So to that end, let's flip over and hear from Lulu.
Hello, I'm Rebecca. I'm playing Lulu, the level 2 Cobalt Druid. And Bryphon is best cat tree.
Very nice. All right, let's go right above you. Ethan, Chris, have you heard what level the party is?
Hey everybody, I am Chris, WikiVA on the Discord and Twitch. I did hear the level of the party. I am a level 34 human diviner. And he's just a normal guy, nothing unusual about him, just a normal diviner looking to make his way in a crazy world.
Nothing strange at all. Nothing out of the ordinary about Ethan. He's
Nope.
level 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
level 2.
Almost level 34,
Yeah.
but 2. All right, and then Ezralyn, Ms. Misery, how's it going?
Not too bad. I am Miss Misery, also known as Kayla, and I am playing the level 2 half-orc fighter. I forgot what game I was playing in for a second. Ezra Lynn.
Yeah.
She also goes by Ezra, and she is a loomer.
Nice. Very good. And last, certainly not least, making good choice after good choice, your friend and mine, Shanalogic.
Hey everybody, Shannon Logic across all the internet, like Wiley said. And I'm playing Lark, the level 2 Changeling Death Domain Cleric of Kelimvor. And much like Ethan, she is the human embodiment of the Hello Fellow Kids gif.
Everything is fine. Nothing is on fire. Players, if anybody happens to see or hear from Abby and I happen to miss it or whatever, just let me know and we'll pull over to the side of the road and get the station wagon rearranged and get back on. Anybody old enough to remember station wagons?
Yes, I
The
think.
the old family truckster. Yeah. All right.
And fossil of those ones.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So, and again, I'm Scott, also known as Wily Hobbit, and I'll be your dungeon master for better or worse. And last session, the party spent the entire game in Phandalin. It's the upper kind of northern Sword Coast, south of Neverwinter, north of Waterdeep. Just a small mining prospecting town in the foot of the Sword Mountains. And they were kind of contemplating next moves. We had some interesting, character connection, great role play, people getting to know one another. And they've decided to take on a little job. They negotiated with the town master, Harbin Wester. They conned him. They negotiated him into paying them 25 gold for some supplies. Ezerlin's armor was looking a little worse for wear, so she was able to upgrade that a little bit. And then they got payment up front of 50 gold pieces, and their job is to head into the mountains. They're looking for this remote, reclusive, gnomish settlement of wizards and tinkerers called Nomengard. And Harbin Wester thought there might be an item or two of use that the gnomes may have that they may be willing to part with that might be useful with this situation. Apparently there's a white dragon hanging around these here parts, and that white dragon has got all kind of things stirred up. He's driven orcs down out of the mountains. He's driven manticores out of the mountains with his presence, and he's buzzed Phandalin a time or two, stolen a sheep or two, and so I think Town Master Wester is maybe got eyes on this party. Maybe they're going to be the heroes of the story that can help rid Phandalin and the region of this white dragon. Now, no one in the group has seen the white dragon, but there's been sightings from other townsfolk. And so our session tonight will open in Phandalin, center of town. It's half past lunch. It's the 18th day of the month Flame Rule, which is just past midwinter. It's again another dry, parched, toasty day, and the party is ready to set off for Gnome Garden. What I think I'll do, let me get the regional map up. It'll take a moment or two for the group to be able to see it, what with the delay and all, but we're going to be visiting Nomengard, and they gave you a kind of a rough map to find your way up there, and so I got my cursor up here. And Nomengard is, let me see, Nomengard, excuse me. That is right in here where the cursor's pointing. So you've got about, Phandalin is here. You can go straight through the hills, or you can skirt the hills and then take a left turn. But Nomengard is up here in the mountains, and they described it as, you'll know you're there. You'll hear the sound of a waterfall. So if you follow the stream upstream into the mountains, just follow the sound of the waterfall, and you'll come to this giant kind of concave cleft that's been, worn out of the mountain face, and there will be a beautiful waterfall into a like a pond or a small body of water, and that marks the entrance to Nomengard. If you go straight through the hills, it'll probably take you about 5 hours to get there. It's probably about 1 p.m. now, so it won't be dark by the time you get there, but it'll be early evening. If you take the longer way, it'll probably be dark. It'll probably take you a couple, 2-3 extra hours to go if you want to avoid the hills. Although I don't know why you would want to avoid the hills. So, any thoughts about your course of action? Is everybody in the party able to see the map on stream? And we're able to see my cursor. So, any questions about which way you want to go? How do you want to do this, gang? I'm going to flip the switch and turn this thing over to you all.
Well, I mean, it makes the most sense for us to take the quickest route, I think.
Are you prepared for that, though? Going through hills, it's often nasty, difficult terrain, and we may not have the upper hand if something comes against us.
Well, I mean, we've shown our fortitude before. It hasn't been much of a problem yet. I mean, Ethan's only gone down like once, and we've brought him back, and now we have money, health potions, and much better weaponry. And armor, at least.
I think the faster way is the way we should go.
Besides, who knows when that dragon's gonna show up again and mess with Phandalin.
You're not wrong.
But you are the more experienced traveler and adventurer. Do you see a benefit to taking the long way that we missed?
Other than keeping you guys safe, no, not really. I've seen you fight enough that I know, unless we get some really bad odds, we'll probably be okay. The simple fact is we can run past bandits on the road anyways. Both have their own risks. Traveling after dark is not something I look forward to. So I suggest we take the hills as well. But I also think we should be prepared to camp overnight in them.
True.
Raymond?
Well, the quicker we get this done, there might be a bonus in it for us, so.
Also very true.
I mean, it feels really half a dozen to one, six to the other.
Spending an extra night in town in the in an inn or a bar room would get us some nice information as well. I definitely think it's something that's important. And we also need to start thinking about a name if we are going to register ourselves. And it would be good to walk into town and be able to introduce ourselves as something.
I also believe there is someone in considerable danger in the wilderness. I'm not
That's a
sure
pretty
where.
Vague statement, considering the wilderness is pretty hostile.
I'm not sure where it is. That I'm not sure of. But I've seen a young man.
But has it always been in conjunction with us? Because I've spent a lot of time on the road. There's a lot of people in trouble in the woods.
I'm not suggesting to you that we go looking for this person. I'm just telling you, we may find him. He's a young man. He seemed very young. Lost, disoriented, scared. A severe cut in his forehead.
Well, if we find him, we'll take a look at it.
He was terrified of something.
Hmm.
Whether it was nearby or leagues away, I can't tell you.
Are you
All
sure
I
it
can
wasn't
tell
you with a cut in your forehead running for
No,
something?
it wasn't. It wasn't me.
Just double
All I
checking, because we could easily put a cut in your forehead to make this one come true.
All I can tell you is that I saw this vision. Why would I see it if it wasn't relevant to me?
I guess that's fair. I just worry that sometimes, I mean, I guess you can only see as much as you're allowed to see, but do you worry that sometimes the vagueness of your predictions might come off as a bit con artist-like?
How is it vague? A young man, cut on his forehead, bleeding, lost, scared, running from something? The only thing I haven't told you is where, and that's because I don't know. If I knew where, I would tell you.
That's
But
fair.
the fact that I saw it, I believe it's linked to us somehow. I don't know how.
Well, I'll tell you what, if we do find a gentleman, a very young gentleman, with a cut in his forehead running in the woods scared, I will stop giving you all shit about your predictions.
I think there's two things that should concern us about the vision. One is, who is this young man? And two, what is he running from?
Yep. It's waiting for that one.
Well, I mean, given what we know, it could be a possibility of a million different things. It could be
Could be.
monsters of some kind, it could be the orcs, it could be the dragon,
It could be Rhodey.
it could be...
Rhodey?
Who's Rhodey?
That is our brother who's been missing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is he a young boy?
Rhodey, big, tall.
Kobold?
No.
do you know whereabouts he went missing? I suppose that would make him not missing then if you knew where he was.
Do you know where he was going? Where he was traveling to?
I can't remember, but I'm sure Lulu does. What was it? What was the place, Wiley? I can't remember.
He went to Waterdeep to learn from an alchemist there. And he should have been home by now.
Waterdeep.
Well, is he prone to run from things?
Oh, Rhodey, Papa, teach Rhodey not to run. Rhodey, big enough not to run.
Is he a human?
Yeah.
Well,
Rhodey. Sorry.
no, go ahead. I don't know even where I was going with that.
Rhodey taller than Bryson.
I traveled from Waterdeep to Phandalin not long ago. It's a long journey, a dangerous journey, especially if you're alone.
Anybody
Rhodey
give you
traveled
trouble?
before.
Well, I can't tell you that that's who it was in the vision. I couldn't see details other than what I've already described.
Well,
So I
if you
wouldn't
saw the
know
cut
where-
on his forehead, right? Then you saw his face, yeah?
I wouldn't know Rhodey if anyway. But yes, I did see the cut in his face.
Did Ethan see lots of red hair?
It was difficult to make out features like that. I saw the cut. The cut was a severe cut. There was a lot of blood.
Well, Rhodey has lots of red hair and very tall.
Are we talking on the road or are we
I think we're all just casually standing in the square, just chatting.
Because why not?
It's talk and move, people, talk and move.
Yes, Mom.
She's just hurting you all.
I don't know. As I said, I don't know who it was. I just know there's someone out there who is lost and in danger.
I'm herding everybody back to the inn so we can get on the road as quickly as possible.
Why do we need to go back to the inn?
And we're gonna get our stuff.
Oh, you guys are ready. You guys are ready.
Yeah, I never leave anywhere without my things. Everything in this bag is everything I own.
Yeah, well, on the road, on the road. We're losing daylight.
Okay, boss.
So is the party going to make the kind of the straightest shot, just cut through the hills straight over? Is that what it sounded like you all agreed on? Okay, that's fine. I'm sure that'll go just fine.
Oh god. That means we're gonna die.
Right, totally. Okay, so you make your way out of Phandalin. Like I mentioned, it's a very hot, dry, sunny day. Few clouds in the sky. Not terribly humid. Again, being in this part of the northern Sword Coast, it's not as humid as it is further south, down towards Baldur's Gate, Candlekeep, so forth. But it's hot. It's like 90. So you hopefully everybody's brought maybe an extra water skin. And you make your way out of Phandalin, kind of southeast out of town, through some of the grasslands, through, where the small farms and so forth are. You're actually following one of the trails that the prospectors and miners take through the hills and up into the Sword Mountains. So you get on your way. It's hot, dusty, but it's a very pleasant start to the journey. As you make your way away from town, things grow quiet. You get away from farms and houses, and you're off on the road. And by road, it's more of a rut wagon traily thing. It's not like a well-maintained stone or dirt road. You know, again, it's a prospector's trail that leads southeast into the Sword Mountains. But it's easy enough of a track to follow, and you can see cart tracks, booted feet, horseshoed feet. So there's occasional traffic. You're actually going to pass the what was that windmill on Umbridge Hill would be off to your right. I don't know that you'll see it through the hills, but that's kind of the direction. You're going to be northeast of Umbridge Hill, if you recall going to see Adabra, Gwen. So
Abracadabra, gotcha.
yeah, so you're on your way.
So Ezra, you've been in mercenary companies before, yes?
Yes.
What are the typical naming conventions?
Depends on your area of expertise. If you're specializing in posh, more bodyguard type of thing, sometimes it's a silken hand, sometimes it's the guiding light, things like that. Or more rough and tumble mercenary soldier type of groups. Sometimes you have the Golden Eagle, Golden Hawk, usually something evocative, and a predator, a carnivore of some sort. They're usually not that inventive.
What is it that we specialize in, Ezra?
Don't know yet. But
Well,
usually it's shorter the better.
How about this? I've got one.
good.
The knowing eye.
I don't actually dislike that.
I knew you would like it.
But what do we know?
Nothing, that's the problem.
We know.
And why an eye?
Well, because an eye. Do you know Savras?
No.
Savras is he's a god, but he's the patron of diviners and fortune tellers. And I think his symbol, one of his symbols, is an eye, because it is all-seeing. A diviner or a fortune teller may say a prayer to Savras before making a fortune.
I do like that, but it's best to not be associated with a particular god.
Oh, well, it's not. That's the beauty of it.
Mm.
It's just an eye. We all have eyes.
Also, being linked to divination and certain types of magic, depending on where we go, can be problematic at times. There are some groups that view divination magics as interfering with the flow of how things should go.
But you know who, of all people, like diviners and want diviners? Wealthy people.
Not wrong.
Kings, lords, people who need knowledge to advance their own cause. They call on diviners. What better way to defeat your enemies by knowing what they're going to do before they do it?
Well, I kind of like it. But I have also an idea that could incorporate yours. You got me thinking about deities. My god's the god of death. There's nothing more intimidating than that. But what about something involving the phrase Deadeye? Excellent marksman. You point us at a task, we get it done. So far, we've accomplished everything we've set out to do with minimal to no casualties whatsoever.
That is true.
The Deadeye could be a pretty solid name. Not necessarily divination, not necessarily the god of death, but the
But both at the
connotation,
same time.
the connotation says excellent work.
You also have to look at the type of crowd we're going to look at. I, for one, never did that well within the more moneyed areas. I made lots of money. We passed lots of money. But people don't like seeing people like me in high-end areas unless I'm in a suit that doesn't fit well.
People with money typically.
So either we're efficient in rough and ready ways, or we're hired to look pretty and keep people from touching certain people in nice areas. Bodyguarding is steady money, but adventuring is much, much better money. Or regular mercenary work is also very good, but risk versus reward. But,
There's one thing I've found to be true, and it's that even the wealthy prefer a little discretion. We don't necessarily have to look pretty or sound pretty as long as we're efficient and quiet. You can get a lot more money that way.
That is the type of mercenary work I am used to. I'm not so used to standing next to someone waving people off. So, what say the rest of you?
Lulu likes sound of dragon eye, but Lulu like dragons.
Yeah, I don't think we should be associated with dragons just in case.
No, I guess not. No, Lulu, guess not.
I personally like Jedi.
Says the archer.
Yes.
Speaking of archers and hunters, Bryphon, you are in your neck of the woods. We're about an hour and a half on the road. Hey, Stream Kitty. Would you roll me perception? You've already entered into hillier country. They're kind of knobby, rocky outcropping, some grass. The woods is kind of more evergreen than deciduous trees. And the trees are a little thicker up in here because you're getting up away from the grasslands. What'd you do in your perception there, Bryphon?
18.
Yeah, so you might even be. I kind of picture Bryphon as maybe even scouting ahead a little bit with your keen vision and your senses that are attuned to these here parts. And you see a doe and 3 young deer cross the track ahead of you all, maybe 100 yards, and scamper up the hillside. The rest of the party completely oblivious. But so far, other than a circling hawk here and there, and the typical things you might see, that's been the extent of it so far. Has been the 3 deer.
Lulu also not real comfy with the.
Pardon?
You froze there for a second, Lulu. You're not comfy with what?
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Lulu not so sure about dead in name. Lulu not like dead things.
What's wrong with
Hilda
that?
died? The old lie.
All at the same time.
What? Like you see Solana get really defensive? What's wrong with that thing?
They dead.
So,
Some people find that scary.
it's just another state of existence. Even dead things are useful to people, and sometimes dead things don't stay dead, if you know what you're doing.
Lulu don't want to hear that.
Well, sometimes you just gotta make sure things are extra dead. I can do that. I can make sure dead things stay dead.
Lulu's looking real upset right now, like really uncomfortable. Like getting mad and such.
Yeah, probably best we curb this conversation.
Yeah.
Death is complicated for everyone.
It's really quite simple, but I get your point.
Complicated emotionally.
Lulu like I part of name but not dead. So something else. If Lulu be part of group.
I mean, if we want to sound really official, and it sounds like we do tasks for other people, not so much going out and doing stuff solely for ourselves. What about the Eye for an Eye Mercenary Corps?
No. That's too complicated. Simple. I've always been a fan of tuning. The sapphire eye, blue eye, the blackened eye.
Purring eye.
The kitten's purr.
I think that was a no.
Quinn has made her feelings known. That's
Queen's
awesome.
Gambit.
Cat's Eye.
Winking eye.
That makes it sound like a brothel that I knew of.
What brothel?
Oh, really?
It's a great place in Suzale if you like brothels.
What brothel though?
Oh no, this is.
No, Lulu.
To put it simply, a brothel is a business in which you go and pay for the company of a person for the
No,
evening.
she doesn't even know that.
She is 6. She is practically an adult.
Nope.
If I want to tell this small child-esque creature about brothels, I'm going to do it.
Lulu's like leaning forward really like, oh, it's brothel.
I feel like it explains it pretty well. It's a place like a bar. You go to meet nice people. You spend money to spend the evening with the nice people.
Brothel sound fun to Lulu.
It's hit and miss because sometimes you could wake up tied to a bed and completely robbed. But that's only happened like twice to people I know.
Brothel no longer sound fun to Lulu.
sometimes the people aren't so nice. It's kind of hit and miss.
Gotta find a really good brothel, that's all. You don't ask for one when we go somewhere because they'll probably send you to the bad one. We'll find out the good one if we want to go to one, okay?
Cat eyes sound fun though.
So you're about 2 hours into your journey. It's heat of the day. But the good news is you've gone up in elevation. You're in the foothills of the Sword Mountains, so it's actually cooling off, but the sun is intense. So if anybody's particularly fair-skinned, you're probably feeling the heat, having been out in the sun on a clear day, no humidity. The trail you're on is beginning to wind in between the hills. It's knobby. Think of if you've ever been in the national forest near Flagstaff or up in Colorado, where it's very piney, like ponderosa pines and other evergreens, and it's very rocky. And where there is soil, it's not real deep, and the grass, like you pull the grass out very easily. It's pretty rocky, and your trail is kind of winding as you follow it along there. And every now and then, if you're paying any attention at all, you'll see a smaller trail kind of go off in one direction or off up a hill over another way. Probably prospectors' trails to small prospector camps, things of that nature. But yeah, it's definitely feeling a little closed in because the trail is down. You're not going like over hills, you're going around hills. So you're staying down beneath the hills. And so I think Bryphon, of all of you, would probably, and probably Ezralyn, would be the least comfortable with the arrangement, just because you're in the lowest ground at all times, and you've got hills around you, and so it's probably just a little bit disconcerting. But so far so good. Again, you see the occasional wildlife, birds, that sort of thing, and it's actually a pretty pleasant. It's cooling off, as I mentioned. It's just dusty and pretty warm and dry. And you're 2 of 5 hours in. And that puts you at about 3 p.m. or so.
Okay, I give up. I've been trying to think about I names for like an hour now. I always thought of myself as a creative person, but this naming business is ridiculous.
It usually hits you after something happens. I mostly just wanted to get the bug in your ears for it.
Could do something with. Well, no, there's not really been a consistent beast that we've fought. Like manticores, ochre jellies,
Jelly
acid
eye.
wolves.
I still a cool idea though.
I do like that.
Do we want sound? What's the word Mama used one time? Badass or professional?
A good bit of both would be better, but I think for ourselves, badass might be the best option.
I mean, looking at us, the only people that look necessarily badass are you and Bryphon.
We'll get you there. I've trained worse.
I can look badass, just not as me.
I'm pretty sure you can.
Hold on, I can do this. Just wait. You're gonna love this. So Solana takes a moment and starts to not look quite like Solana anymore. She grows about 3 inches tall, way wider, and well, you see sort of an iguana-esque looking dragonborn with very snarled teeth and very beady yellow eyes. He's big, he's hulking, and he's rust-colored.
I bet your jug.
He sticks out his hand. Pineapple.
And she'll shake it. They do the whole wrist shake.
Vigor.
I love pineapple.
Small dragon cute.
Is that?
She's not what?
That she is that.
Oh. He just bends over, looms over Lulu and smiles really creepily. He's like, small dragon cute.
Blups in return. Just like staring, sparkly eyes. Bryphon, this one cool.
Did you guys hear that? Sounded like a twig snapping.
Jug doesn't really have ears.
Drugs. Everybody stay still and listen.
Roll perception, anybody that would like to.
14 for Ezra.
12 for Bryce.
Wow.
7 for
20.
Jug.
Ethan got 4.
Lulu is not 20 plus 2, 20, 22
okay.
total.
Yeah, so anybody over 15, you notice some pebbles kind of come rolling down the hill on the right side. And again, you've got some trees, rocky outcroppings, and you're down between kind of 2 hillocks. And Ethan, as you're standing there with your 4 perception going, maybe you're thumbing through your spell book, smoking a pipe. A javelin comes out from above you on the right and goes well over your head and sticks into the hillside across the path, kind of over your head. And Lulu. Does a 19 hit you?
Probably, yeah. Yes.
Okay. So a javelin comes down from the left and glances off your shoulder, doing 4 points of piercing. Rather than piercing, it's just more of a scratch across your shoulder as it grazes you and falls to the ground. And I'm going to ask everyone to roll initiative for me, please.
Ethan got a 9.
Okay.
Bryson got 17.
9 as well for Lulu.
15 for Jug.
Ezra got 13.
And Lulu got a 9, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's everybody. Is anybody piloting Shokoli? Or would anyone like to? At least for combat's sake.
Suppose I can?
Their main attacks are doesn't have to be anything extravagant. I just didn't want, if Abby comes in or next session, I didn't want to have some weird thing where Shokoli wasn't there.
Let me see if I can get to her.
Okay. So what happens here is this javelin comes down from the right, and it, you hear it clatter against one of the trees, and you hear some cursing in some language, kind of a cackly language, and it falls harmlessly across the trail over Ethan's head. But the other one comes down true and hits Lulu, and then skitters and run and kind of clatters into the far hillside, and you realize you're in some kind of crossfire situation with something up in the hills. What languages do we have? What do y'all speak?
Infernal, Celestial, and Common.
Common and Orc.
I speak Infernal, Goblin, Elvish, Common, Abyssal.
Okay.
I do Common, Draconic, Dwarvish, and Elvish.
Okay.
Lulu is Common, Draconic, Druidic, Elvish, and Sylvan.
Very good. So Chris, I'm gonna type what you hear
Okay.
in Zoom chat. So you all hear this cackling coming from both sides of you. And it sounds like it's moving ahead of you and behind you on both sides, as if maybe you're being surrounded. And so first to go is going to be Bryphon. And you can see movement on both sides, on both hills, coming down the hill. I think you've probably encountered these creatures before, but they're kind of red, some hair, they're squat, they're, nasty, wearing hides and maybe pieces of leather armor that don't fit, carrying javelins and scimitars. And they are coming down the hill on both sides. Your guess is these are probably goblins. And you may make your turn. The top of the hill for range is probably about 30 feet away, and they've started to enter. So they're all within, the ones that you can see, about 2 on each side, are within 30 feet.
Okay. So, Bryphon is going to take her bow and shoot an arrow
Okay.
at the right side.
Okay.
Ow.
All right. Yeah, you can see a goblin and you can take aim and fire. They're well within your range.
Okay. So she does that, and it gets a 16.
Okay. That is a hit.
Okay. And the damage is 5.
Okay. So you bury an arrow into his shoulder and he just squeak kind of thing, but he's still coming down the hill at you. You got it just above his shield, and he's got this javelin. There's a scimitar at his hip, and he's coming down the hill toward the party. Anything else you'd like to do? That was your action. You've got movement and a bonus action if you have anything along those lines.
No, she's gonna stay back for now.
Okay.
So I'm done with that.
Great. Now these guys are coming down. There's 2 on each side, and now you've got stones and rocks kind of bouncing down. It's not an avalanche or anything crazy, but it's a little dusty, and obviously they have laid a trap or they've got a little ambush going, and they're coming down on both sides. So it is now the goblin's turn, and I'm rolling a d6, excluding any 5s because Abby is 5, to see who they attack. And you fired at this goblin, and he's going to throw his javelin at you, Bryphon. Does a 12 hit you?
No.
Okay. So, and by javelin, now these aren't fancy, well-made weapons, right? These are kind of more like light spears made of, wood. They've probably been like kind of fire hardened in some way, rough leather wrapping for a place to grip. And this thing comes kind of past you and clatters harmlessly to the ground as he gets down into melee with the party. The other goblin is going to throw a javelin at Lulu. Hey, wow, it is not Lulu's day. That's a nat 20. So the way we do critical hits here is full damage. So, full damage die plus modifier, and then another die roll. So that's 8. Ooh, and I rolled a 1. Good for you. So 7 piercing as a javelin pierces your side. Goblins on the other side. One's coming at Ezra. Does a... and this is a scimitar swing as they come down the hill. Does a 22 hit, Ezra?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that is 5 slashing. And then Ethan does a 17 hit.
It does.
All right, man, I'm hammering you guys. 6 damage slashing. So these guys just come down with these notched scimitars, pull them out, kind of just let their javelin fall at their feet and just start hacking away. It is now time for more javelins to rain down from the hill. Solana, does a dirty 20 hit you?
Yeah.
That's 7 as the javelin comes down from the hill. And if you look up in the direction where that javelin came from, you'll see laughing and cackling at you is an even larger goblin dressed in, he's got a chain shirt. It's rough looking, and a shield, and he's kind of pointing and barking, essentially barking orders at these goblins. And there's a goblin on the hill beside him starting down the hill. On the right side, firing at you, Bryphon. Ooh, there's another nat 20. Sweet. That is 8 plus 4, 12 piercing as another javelin from another goblin commander boss type pierces you in the hip. Jug. And I said Solana, I apologize. Jug, it is your turn. You have 2 goblins, one coming down the hill on the left, and 2 goblins that came down on the right. So a total of 5 goblins, and then the goblin bosses are on the hill.
Jug not happy with this. Jug reaches into his pouch, rips out a page from his Bible, and slaps it on Lulu, and casts Shield of Faith.
Nice.
So a shimmering sort of like black web of veins wraps around you and disappears. You now have +2 bonus to your AC for 10 minutes.
Yeah, so Lulu, you just feel like sturdier, more stout. You just have this greater robustness. I don't know how else to describe it.
How big are these goblins?
They're not that big, you know. They're maybe 5 feet tall. The boss guys are a little taller, a little broader, but the ones down here in melee, they're medium. Well, they're actually small creatures, so they're probably less than 5 foot, maybe 4.5, 4'6", 4'7".
Excellent. Jug's gonna grab one of them and throw it at one of the leaders.
Great. So you're gonna try to throw a goblin up the hill.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try grapple, right? Or is this a special attack for Jug? Or would this just be standard
Oh
grapple?
no, Jug just wants to try.
Okay.
And Jug just mad.
Yeah, let's just grapple then.
Okay. So what, like contested strength,
Contested strength. Use your modifier, and don't forget you have +2s to use. Anybody that donates $5 or 500 bits gives either the party or the DM a +2 to add to any D20 roll, and they don't have to declare they're using it until they've seen the D20 roll and know the outcome.
I'm
You have
just gonna
11.
Go with what I rolled, which is a 19.
Okay, so you grab this goblin, and he is surprisingly strong. And I don't know where you're grabbing him or whatever, but he gets 2 hands on your arm, and he almost breaks your grip, but you manage to hang on to him.
Gonna just sort of like whip around because I like just full on grabbed his head,
Okay,
just picked him up, and was just whipping him.
and you're going to throw him 30 feet up the hill at the goblin boss. Roll me athletics.
Yeah.
You're going for a DC 15. This is not going to be incredibly easy, even though I know you're bigger than the goblin, but you're trying to throw a wriggly humanoid up a hill at a standing humanoid.
Oh, dirty 20.
Okay.
Oh, wait. No, natural 20.
Okay. So you're going to get, let's say instead of D4 bludgeoning, then we'll give you 4 plus a D4 roll since you critted on the goblin boss.
8.
All right, so 8 bludgeoning as this little gobbo bounces off the goblin boss. The cool thing about this, I'm going to rule that the gobbo is going to take the same damage because it's percussive, body on body. And so the goblin falls lifeless at the feet of the boss. And so there are 2 goblins at your end, or you're kind of on the left side, and 2 goblins on the right side, and then 1 boss up on the hill. What else would you like to do? That was kind of your action.
Jug's gonna start stomping up the hill towards the goblin boss.
Okay. You can get there if your move is 30. You can get there, and you'll be in melee. But
So
obviously,
he's gonna get up in this goblin boss's face and be like, "Call men back, or I send men back."
he spits on you. He doesn't really understand you, but he gets your drift, and he just kind of spits on you. Okay. That was Jug. How about Ezra?
Where's the closest goblin?
You've got 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and you're down on that trail between the hills, so everybody's down there within 5 feet. It's fairly tight quarters on the Prospector's Trail, so you're right there in melee.
All right. I'm going to position myself so that I can get a good broad swing in because I'm going for 2.
Okay.
I'm taking out my great sword, not my long sword, and let's see. Oh yeah, 24.
Okay. 24 hits, and you're trying to swipe at 2 of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you managed to draw your blade across the chests of both of these goblins.
I did 12 points of damage total.
12 total. All right. You have dispatched 2 goblins. They are on their backs, bleeding out. So,
Okay.
were they the ones on the left or the right?
I'm gonna go with left.
Okay. They are down.
And I'm gonna use what's left of my movement to get in position myself so that I can get a big swing in on the next group.
Okay. Yeah, there are 2 that are on the right side of the party. Okay. After Ezra, Ethan and Lulu, what are your dexterities?
Oh, I'm sure mine's like sky high. Hang on.
And Lulu, what's your dex?
The modifier or the
Your actual dex.
16.
Yeah, mine's a 13.
Okay, so Lulu, you'll go first then. You guys both had a 9, so.
Okay, so Lulu's been on Breffen's shoulders this entire time, so Lulu, after being hit twice and being below half health now, will, with her movement, dive into Breffen's bag as cover, and then cast Cure Wound on herself.
Okay. You would subject yourself to a melee attack of opportunity. So if you want to disengage for your action, you could avoid that and at least get up in the bag.
Yeah, that will work too.
You wouldn't have the action to cast your spell, but since everybody's down there in a kind of a clump on the trail, you're in melee, so you have your choice.
Disengage then.
Okay. So you're going to disengage, and so you all just see Lulu scamper up Bryphon quickly and get in her rucksack. As the goblins are, Okay. Ethan.
So there's two
goblins in melee.
and a bad dude.
Then there's the boss on the right hill and the boss on the left hill. The boss on the left hill has Jug. Face to face, they appear to be speaking with one another.
Okay, so there's a boss on the left and the right. And the two, one of them hit me.
Yeah, one of the gobos hit you with a javelin.
Okay. But there's no goblin on me currently.
You're within melee just because everybody's the quarters are that close. Picture you're walking down a narrow trail. Maybe two people could pass, face to face, shoulder to shoulder wide. The path is, maybe 5 feet wide. And then it goes right up hills. And they just came right down the hills on you. And so you have, you had 4 goblins around you. Now you just have 2 kind of on the right side.
So I think what I'm going to do is the boss on the right that's not engaged is on the right.
Correct. Yep. He's about 30 feet away on top of the hill.
30 feet away.
Yeah, sorry if I spoke over you there.
No, that's okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna cast Ray of Frost at him, which is I have to roll to hit, but I saw this combat the night before, and I know exactly where this dude is going to be.
Okay.
So I'm going to use one of my portent rolls for the
Okay.
day.
Okay.
And
nice.
So I rolled an 18 plus 5 is 23.
Yeah. Nice. And that's on the Gobbo boss, right?
That's on the Gobbo boss.
Very good.
And,
yeah.
So he'll take cold damage.
So Ray of Frost.
2.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll take 2 points of cold damage, and he'll lose 10 feet of movement.
Very good. Okay. Yeah, so you do your, whatever your spell looks like. What does it look like when you cast Ray of Frost? Like, what machinations do you go through?
So he starts casting waving his arms and chanting words of magic as he closes his eyes and sort of lifts up his head. And as he casts the spell, a thin blue ray comes from his fingers and strikes right into the chest of that bossy goblin.
Yeah, nice. And you see the frost immediately splay across the chain shirt, and you can see him kind of like, whoa, get really cold, like 2 points of damage cold. So very good. So you know your spell was effective.
And then I think as far as movement goes. If I move, I give them an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So then I don't want to do that. So that's all I've got.
Very good. Okay. Top of the order, Bryphon. So you've got 2 goblins down there within melee range. You have 1 on each hill. The hill on the left has the goblin boss with Jug face to face, snarling away, trading insults, and then the other goblin boss is on the right side. You just saw Ethan fire this little blue beam of cold, and it kind of froze the front of his chainmail armor.
Okay, so Bryphon is going to do another arrow at the boss on the right that Ethan just hit.
Okay. Yeah, roll your attack.
That is going to be a 14.
Okay, so your arrow just goes over the shoulder. He kind of ducks and, puts his shield up, and it glances off of his shield and into the woods behind him. You hear him cackle away. He utters something in a language you don't understand. Probably wasn't very nice.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I I think that's all she's gonna do for now.
Okay. Super. All right. So after Bryphon, it is the goblin's turn. And so I've got 2 goblins. I'm just going to roll. I've got 4 of the party members, actually 5 Shokoli. We didn't give Shokoli a turn. Let's just put Shokoli at the top of the order with Bryphon. So Shan, do you want to pilot?
I can't get to her page. It's just like view profile only.
Okay.
Can't
Yeah,
view.
she doesn't have it set that
All right. I bet I can see it. Let me see what I can do here real quick. I've only got 4 instances of D&D Beyond open. Let's go for 5. Frickin' love D&D Beyond. Okay, campaigns. Bear with me a second, kids. Did everybody know it's National Dog Day?
Yeah.
So happy National Dog Day. Okay, Shokoli Tonamayo. Oops, we rolled a 1. You know, I'm getting tired of D&D Beyond telling me they rolled a 1. I get that like 30% of the time. I try to do something in D&D Beyond. Just a minute ago, I liked D&D Beyond. Now I don't. Let me try it again here. Where are you, Shokoli? Oh, I'm in the wrong campaign. Damn it. Okay, so Shokoli is going to unarmed strike. I'm just going to kind of keep it simple. Actions in combat. Let's see here. Yeah, so unarmed strike at one of the goblins, and that is a hit, I think, exactly. Yes, very good. So you see the monk, get in their fighting stance, kind of bitch slap this goblin for 8 damage, and the neck snaps and it drops. And then Shokoli takes a defensive posture, and it is now the goblin's turn. And the goblin who just watched her comrade go down takes a swing with the notched, ugly scimitar at Shokoli. And I believe hits. Yep. For 3 damage. So if somebody wants to track, just make a note. Lark, you want to do that?
Yep.
Make a note. Shokoli takes 3 damage. Shokoli has 20 hit points.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to long rest them because it looks like they needed to take their long rest. And obviously you all have done that. Okay, so they got, what did I say, 3 slashing?
Yep.
The goblin boss on Jug raises his scimitar and spits again and takes a swing. Does an 8 hit the Dragonborn? Yeah, so I don't know if you have armor or a shield or what, but the scimitar comes slicing through the air and just whiffs as, maybe he ducks or sidesteps a little bit. The other goblin boss is going to throw a javelin at Ethan, who froze him. Does a 21 hit.
Yep.
That's 6 damage. As Ethan, you take a shot from a wooden javelin, piercing damage. And we are now at Jug's turn.
Jug warned you. Jug's gonna smash with his mace. So it's gonna be a 16.
A 16 does not hit. Your mace bashes into the chain shirt, and it winces, but it obviously doesn't take any kind of damage. You could use a +2 to
Yeah, I'm gonna
hit
use a +2.
to hit the goblin boss. His armor class is 17. You rolled a 16. Okay, so you used a +2, so you're down to 10. Very good. Okay, roll your damage.
That's gonna be 5 damage.
5 damage. Okay. This guy's looking bloodied. He's got, I forget the source of the first, I think maybe it was an arrow or something.
I threw a goblin at him.
That's right. Yeah, you got bludgeoned with a goblin, so he's looking kind of bruised. He's taken a lot of bludgeoning damage. 13 total. Anything else you want to do on your turn? That was your action?
I probably can't, like, grab him and try to skateboard him down the hill.
Yeah, you've already actioned. You've got your movement, and if you have a specific bonus action available to you, but other than that, yeah, you've used your action.
I do have 2-weapon fighting.
Yeah, so I think if you have a mace and then a simple melee weapon, you could, like a dagger, you could hit with that.
I do have a sickle. I think that counts. I also have a bunch of daggers because Solana has a dagger fetish, apparently. Sickle's a simple weapon.
2-weapon. Okay.
I'm gonna sickle him. Let's see. Smash him with the mace and then come at him with the sickle. That's gonna be a 17.
That hits.
Alright. Not a lot of damage, but
Yeah, you use your bonus action with a different light melee weapon.
yeah, that's just 3 damage for that one.
Okay, very good. So he's getting carved up. Looking rough. Okay, we move on to Ezra. You have a single goblin down there, and then you have the boss on each hill.
I am going to take my sword, raise it up like this, and bring it right down onto the goblin in front of me.
Very good. Go
Not
ahead and-
leaving anything in my back.
Yeah, go ahead and roll your attack.
That is a 22 to hit.
That just barely breaks the goblin's armor class of 15.
And same as before, 12 points of damage.
Yeah, so describe to me how you end this goblin.
I would chop him in half.
From top to bottom, just separate. Yeah, it's not a clean cut because bone and stuff. But yeah, you managed to separate one half of this goblin from the other half of that goblin. Would you like to take a move or bonus action?
Now I'm going to run up to the unoccupied boss.
Okay. So you are
I will
there.
launch myself up that hill.
Yeah, you can. It's 30 feet. You can get there, and you're there. All right. I think we decided that Lulu goes before Ethan. So Lulu, you're in the bag, kind of bouncing on Bryfon's back. What would you like to do?
Lulu's gonna go ahead and cast. Where is it? Cure Wounds on herself.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll it up.
Uh,
It's a D8 plus 1.
or +2.
Cool.
So 6 points of healing.
Excellent. Yeah, so you pray to Shantae, and you feel the warmth of her blessing come upon you, and you feel some of your wounds mend. The bleeding stops. You feel a little more invigorated. Anything else you'd like to do? Still have movement and bonus action.
Lulu will peek out of the bag and survey the situation.
Okay, yeah, as you look around, you have 4 goblin carcasses, all deceased, at the feet of the party. You look, and this large dragonborn that used to be Solana is up the hill in melee, swinging, wielding a mace versus the scimitar wielding goblin boss. The half-orc Esserlin has gone up the hill on the right and is toe-to-toe with the other goblin boss. And then Bryfon and Ethan are with you on the path, as is Shokoli.
How far are the goblins from Lulu's point?
30 feet.
Right.
30 feet.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, that's my turn for now.
Okay, very good. Ethan.
Ethan is going to cast Ray of Frost again at the same goblin that he hit
Yeah, very good.
last time.
Do your thing.
And he rolled a 6.
You're looking for AC 17, so unless you get a plus, 11, thinking maybe you might have missed on that one.
Yeah, I don't think I hit.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to. I think that's all I'm going to do.
Okay. Very good. So we're back to the top of the order, and Shukali is going to dash up the hill with Ezralin, moving surprisingly, very lithe and quick through the trees. And they're going to get up in the face of this goblin boss and kind of look at it like, almost like, why are you attacking us? With this, like, why kind of look on their face. And the goblin boss just hisses and spits at Shukali. So, biff! Takes a swing. 19 plus a bunch, that's a hit. And it's D4 plus 2, I believe, or was it 4? Let me check. D4 plus 4.
Favorite modifier.
Yeah, D4 plus 4 is 6. So Shokali just like throat punches this goblin boss. He kind of takes a step back, like, holy crap. And it is now Bryfon's turn. So Bryfon, the goblins are dead, but the 2 goblin leaders, one on each hill, are still in play. The one that is with Jug looks a little rougher than the one that's with Shokali and Ezra.
Okay. So because Ryfen is severely damaged right now, she's going to stay where she's at. We're going to try an arrow again, but this time on the one that's by Jug.
Okay.
And I got a 19.
That's a hit.
Okay. And then the damage is 4.
Okay, so you launch an arrow, and this thing howls and sputters and is kind of spitting up blood, and this arrow is sticking in its shoulder. So, Jug, right behind you, just boom, an arrow launches into this goblin, giving it quite a wound, but it's still on its feet. It's kind of reeling, it's wobbly, it's looking rough. But Bryfon's shot was true, and that arrow goes in almost to the fletching, buries in the shoulder of this goblin boss.
And that'll be the end of her turn.
Okay. Let's go to the goblin bosses are up. So he's going to lift his arm, Jug, and normally he can take 2 attacks, but now he's down to 1 arm because the arm that took the arrow shot is hanging limp. So he's going to take an attack at you, swing wildly, and miss. The goblin boss on Ezra and Shokoli is going to attack Shokoli because they just punched him. And he rolls way too low and misses. And then rolls with disadvantage on his second attack. That may hit. 4, 17. It hits exactly. And so Shokoli is going to suffer across the front of their front thigh as they're in this defensive stance. Unable to move away quickly enough. 3 slashing damage. So, Lark, if you can kind of chart that from the Gobbo boss. And now we are to Jug.
Can you make me a wisdom saving throw, please? I'm going to try something fun.
Cool. 18 is my save.
That's not fun for me.
It's fun for my dude. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it.
Not fun for me. I can't even -2 that or whatever. Just make it fun for me. Shit, I didn't really have a plan B. Hold on, let me see what I can do. So that was my action. So do I have to bonus action? Can I use my movement to, like, run into him and try to knock him down? Or is that an action?
Well, it's like a charge. That would be an action.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movement, the running part would be fine, but to lower your shoulder and bowl him over would be your action.
Yeah, basically, all you see is Jug like reel back and like take a big breath, like he's about to like breathe something or scream, and a bug flies in his throat, so he starts coughing and he like can't do anything.
Nice. Okay. Very good. Ezra, you're up. You have a goblin boss in front of you.
Same thing as before. Just gonna try to chop his head off
Okay.
with my great sword.
With your great
119
sword.
to hit.
That hits. You find purchase with your swing.
11 points of damage.
Okay, so you open up a huge gash as you take a swing, and it's kind of like shoulder to hip. And you actually tear through the chainmail in places. And blood starts to issue out of this goblin as he howls in pain and kind of steps back. He tried to parry it with the scimitar. I mean, this guy's not a half-bad swordsman, but nowhere near a match for a mercenary of your stature. And you open up like a nasty gash. Anything else?
No, I will prepare for my next attack.
Lulu.
That's it.
Okay, Lulu, you're up.
Lulu will, with her movement, climb onto Gryphon's shoulder, pull her bow out, and take aim at whichever goblin looks more damaged.
They're actually identically damaged, so they're both
Oh.
looking rough. Yeah. The easier shot is the one where Jug is, just because Jug is the only person up there.
Then that.
Okay. Fire away. We have an archer on an archer. We
Yay.
have a double-decker archer.
Double archer power.
Picture this kobold on the shoulders of the... Is it half-elf, Bryphon? Or elf?
Wood elf.
Wood elf, that's right. Sorry about that.
Well, we rolled a nat 1, so it does nothing.
Yeah, so the arrow goes harmlessly into the side of the hill, thunk, and snaps. So that's a non-recoverable arrow. And just for you missile people, I usually just keep it simple and just say at the end of combat, if you want to collect missiles, you can get 50% of what you shot, you can get back. So if you shot 4, you'd be able to find 2 of them, just to keep it simple. Okay. Anything else, Lulu?
Lulu will curse in Draconic and then just huff a little bit and then get ready for her next round.
Yeah, so Jug hears some kind of foul language come from the kobold. Some naughty words. Absolutely. Anybody else who speaks Draconic would
Oh,
understand.
Jug
that.
doesn't speak Draconic.
Oh, I thought he would, being a Dragonborn.
He's just has large stats. He doesn't know
Okay,
Draconic.
yeah, that's right. Okay, gotcha.
Jug no go to school. Jug did not learn things.
Very good. Okay,
And
Ethan.
your kobold sounds then.
Yeah, you hear
So-
kobold sounds.
So Ethan reaches into his component pouch and he pulls out a short piece of copper wire, and he starts casting with this piece of copper wire in his fingers, and he casts, and he's murmuring words of magic, closing his eyes, and he points at the goblin boss that's facing Izra and Shokoli, and he's going to cast message. And I'm going to say in Goblin to the Goblin boss, it looks like we'll be taking your shinies today.
Roll me Intimidate.
Oh, I'm sure that'll go well. Oh, I got an 18.
Yeah, so you see him look around all of a sudden. Like, Ezra, you're standing right there, and you see this goblin look around with this concerned look on his face. You don't know why. But, and he kind of backs up a step or two. He's clearly been caught off guard. Yeah, go ahead.
Would that give me an attack of opportunity?
Yeah, I'm going to say go ahead. Yeah, he's definitely like, who's talking to me? So go ahead and take a swing.
Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna punch him in the head
Okay?
because I have my other sword up, ready to take my swing. So I just go.
Nice. Okay.
Still holding my other sword. 14.
You hit, you
well.
you land it, but it doesn't do any damage. You just kind of, and he kind of like comes to. Like he was like, what the heck? Yeah, gotcha. Okay, Ethan, anything else, bud?
Yeah, I'm gonna bonus action a healing potion.
Okay, go ahead. And we're back to the top of the order. Shokali is going to look at this guy, kind of tilt his head. Let me see something real quick. Check languages. Yeah, all of a sudden Shokali stops and starts to say something. And Ethan, you hear Shokali conversing with this guy, but you can't make out what Shokali's saying.
Okay.
And the guy responds and spits on Shokali again. So, baff! And hits again. And puts him down. Snaps his neck. Scimitar falls to the ground, and the guy just drops. And Shokali just stands there shaking their head. We're to Bryphon. There's one Gobbo boss left, and it's the one that Lulu just hit with the arrow. Except missed. The one that Lulu attempted to shoot at, but hit the side of the hill instead.
Okay, so Bryphon is going to attempt to hit that one that Lulu just missed. And I got a 16.
Okay. That does not hit. Your arrow glances off the chain shirt. So, once again, Jug, you're standing there and toink. An arrow flies up over your shoulder, hits him, but it glances off the chain shirt. So 17 is what you're looking for. If you would like to spend one of your +2s, I would certainly enable you to do that if you'd like for your arrow to hit. Because AC 17, you rolled a 16.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So your arrow finds purchase. Roll me some damage.
I got 2.
Okay, so it buries into the chest of this guy, and he's looking bad, man. He looks down at it, and he looks at Jug, and he looks bad. And in fact, he starts to bleed from his mouth, and he turns and runs. He disengages, so you don't get an opportunity attack, but he turns and runs. And it's actually your turn. He's not running well, so you're not gonna. You should be able to. You have what, 30 movement?
Yep.
Yeah, he's not gonna
Just
quite.
gonna just lumber in front of him, put a hand on him, and I need you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this.
Oh, you can't see it, but that's a 20. So, I rolled a nat 20. So, it's actually with his -1 for wisdom. It's a 19.
Feeling me small.
Damn,
Sounds like.
Can I only do the 2-weapon attack if I did a melee attack?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the bonus action attack comes into play when you've made a melee attack with a light melee weapon.
I can't do bonus action. Grappling's not a bonus action.
That's an action. Yep.
I guess I'm just gonna stand in front of him to slow him down.
Okay.
Be like, Jug
Yeah, you can.
wants to talk.
You can certainly intercept him and
Jug-
keep him from moving. Yeah.
Jug not mad, Jug disappointed, and Jug wants to talk.
Okay. Very good. Ezra.
Who's left?
Just the one
The
that
one
Jug
Jug-
is dancing with over there.
How far away from me is he?
60. You got to go down 30 and up 30. And actually further than that because they kind of disappeared over the hill because he turned and ran. And Jug disappeared after him. So
I
you
threw my sword at him.
have a dead Gobbo boss at your feet, and you have over the hill. They're pretty much out of eyesight. You could double move to the top of the hill, so you could at least maybe see where they went. But
I'm gonna shout to Bryphon. Get to the top of the hill. See if you can pick them off. And she'll run down to the bottom of the hill and she'll check everybody.
okay. So Ezra
Before-
comes down to the bottom of the hill. Shokoli stays up there with the deceased goblin boss. Lulu, it's your turn.
Okay. How damaged is Bryphon?
I don't think Bryphon took any damage. Or did you take a javelin shot?
I took 12 damage, so I'm only at
Oh,
6.
jeez.
Okay.
Shut up, Dungeon Master. You don't know what you're talking about.
Alright, Lulu's gonna go ahead and cast Cure Wounds on Bryphon. Come on. Nice old 10 points of healing right there.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Bryphon, stay healthy.
So once again, Lulu does her little spell routine, and you feel the warmth, the blessing of Shantae roll through you as you see wounds mend. The point of entry from the javelin closes, the bleeding stops, and you are 10 points healed.
Oh, right.
Anything else, Lulu?
Because the remaining goblin is over the hill now, right?
Yes. They and Jug went over the hill, fled into the woods.
No, that's all.
Okay. Ethan.
So, how many goblins are still around?
It's just the goblin boss that went over the hill with Jug.
And I can't see him anymore.
Correct. You've got, 30 movement, so you could get to the top of the hill over there, and maybe you see them, maybe you don't.
Yeah, that doesn't seem wise. I think I'll check and see if there's any stuff on these dead ones in front of me.
So you're going to start looting the
Dead
bodies?
goblins.
Yeah. Yeah, so they've got their, as you look around, they've got their, a couple of javelins strapped to their backs. They've got their scimitars. They've got bits and pieces of leather and hide for armor. They smell bad. They're hairy and nasty. Roll me investigation.
Investigation. I got a 16.
Okay. So you find pouches on each of them. And if you take the time, I'll get into those in a minute. So basically you found in your round of your action was to find 4 little leather pouches on belts.
Right.
Top of the order, Shokali is going to search the body of the boss on the hill, confident that the party's going to dispatch whatever threat is left. Bryphon, it's your turn.
Okay. So Bryphon is going to go to the top of the hill.
Okay, yeah, you can move 30 and get up at the top of the hill, and you see down a ways. It's not straight down a hill; it just kind of goes down a little bit. You can see probably about 25 feet away. You can see the other goblin boss and Jug. Jug has got their hand on the kind of maybe the scruff of the neck of this goblin boss.
Okay. So she is gonna do her good old trusty arrow again,
Okay.
and it's a 12.
Okay, yeah. So an arrow comes your way, Jug, but sails off into the trees. So you've moved. Do you have a bonus action or anything?
You see. Oops. Only I just have the 2-weapon fighting one.
Okay. Yep. So your turn is complete. This guy is going to try to swing at you, Jug, with one arm. So I'm going to make a single attack at disadvantage with his scimitar. He's in pretty bad shape. He's bleeding. He's kind of shaken. I'm guessing that a 12 is probably a miss. So So it just kind of flaps off of you, stings a little bit, and he's going to try to move away from. He's just going to try to run from you. Do you have a hold of him?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's not really going to be able to do anything
Actually, no,
because
he's
it's
probably just rested his hand on his shoulder.
okay.
Not a,
So he's going to try to run again. That'll give you an attack of opportunity.
I'm not gonna try this wisdom save shit again because it's just not going to help me. So I guess let's see.
My dice, my big blue d20s.
This would count as an unarmed attack, I'm guessing, because Jug's just gonna try to eat his head. Like just the alligator chomp down on his head.
Just bite him. Okay.
Yeah. So let's see how that
Yeah,
goes.
roll a d20 and add your strength bonus.
That's gonna be an 18.
Okay, yeah, you succeed in biting his head. Roll a d4.
Gonna be 4.
Okay, describe for me how this goblin boss meets his end.
So Jug just sort of crunches down and does like just crunching like a winch. Is that the right word? I don't know.
Like a clamp?
Like yeah, like a clamp sort
Till-
of. Until Bryphon probably is the only one that can hear it. You hear a pop, and you just see Jug with like this limp guy hanging out of his mouth, and Jug looks up to see Bryphon and just waves really enthusiastically with this guy hanging out of his mouth.
Oh, and so Jug's got goblin ichor blood running down the front of him.
Yeah, and he's gonna start walking back, just carrying the guy in his mouth.
Okay, the scimitar drops, and the limp body of the goblin, and you fall out of initiative, and all goes quiet except for the sounds of the feet on rocky ground of whoever's moving.
Jug comes back up over the hill with the guy dangling out of his mouth. He's just, woo, woo.
Jug, drop. Now.
A little
You
something-
heard me.
A little something in your.
He just opens his mouth and the guy like, falls down the hill.
Nice.
Do that. Lulu
Nice.
just fall.
Okay.
We're gonna have to teach you some manners.
Jug
Um,
brought back leftovers though.
Did you bring the carcass back down the hill to where the party is?
Well, Jug was at the top of the hill. Ezra saw him and made him drop it.
Okay.
And then the corpse just kind of rolled down the hill.
Okay. So you and Bryphon are standing at the top of the hill. The corpse is slowly kind of ka-flurp down the hill. The chain shirt jingling a little bit. Shokoli stands from a crouched position, holds up a leather pouch, and comes down the hill. I found this on the goblin
Jug
boss.
looks over. Jug looks over and Bryphon's just like, Jug was being nice. Manners. Jug brought leftovers. Everyone can eat.
They just don't understand you.
You've known me for less than 10 minutes. That seems fair.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so Ethan, you have 4 pouches to go through from the,
Yeah,
or actually, and there's a goblin carcass at the top of the hill that would also have a pouch on its belt. Bryphon and Jug, if you want to bring that pouch down.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kick the carcass down the hill, I guess.
Okay.
So it piles with the rest.
Okay. So there are 5 goblin carcasses, 5 leather belt pouches. They're more like some kind of skin that's been sewn with a string, to draw it together. I wouldn't say it's like a nicely stitched pouch or like a hard leather pouch. They're goblins. They live out in the woods and the mountains. But the pouches jingle. So Ethan, if you, I don't know how you're going to search the pouches, dump them out or whatever, but you tell me.
Yeah, he'll dump them out. See what's in them.
Great. Yeah, so the familiar jingle of coin as you empty the pouches. Hey, Thistle Britches, thanks for hanging out, man. Thanks for the follow, and hopefully we'll see you on some other streams. you have fun as well. So you find 22 copper. I don't know who's going to be the treasure scribe. 22 copper,
Got it.
11 silver, and 17 gold, and 2 platinum. There's also a handful of like little quartz looking kind of clear and milky little gems. They're not worth a lot, maybe 10 gold pieces each. There's 8 of them. There's little bits of bone, little flaps of skin, little teeth in there. So, that's it. Yeah. Shokali opens the pouch of the boss, and there's a scroll in the pouch in a tube. There are 30 silver, 6 platinum, 2 25 gold piece amethysts. So this little band of dudes seems to have been doing okay out here on the trail. They each have like a knife for cutting and little implements and things with them for obviously these things live somewhere out here in the wilds. They're not like town goblins or something, right? And there's also Shokali shows you all, but asks if they can keep it. But it's like maybe some kind of a totem, maybe a holy symbol to some goblin lore, something. But you notice Shokali seems pretty bummed about this situation. They're not saying much, just kind of shaking their head, almost like, man, what a shame, is kind of the sense you're getting. And then you have the other.
You have 2 questions for group. 1, what's his stance on people eating?
We already had this discussion a while back. I don't think we
No.
should have it again.
No. Okay. Yes. Good. Will not do.
Just so we're clear on cannibalism.
Can tiny dragon have tiny gems? Tiny dragon need tiny dragon hoard. Tiny dragon take tiny dragon gems.
Wait, is Jug asking a question?
Yeah, Jug wants to know if Lulu can have the tiny gems that fell out of because they're not really worth anything.
Oh, Lulu will nod enthusiastically.
Other than that,
There's the pouch on the other goblin boss.
what does scroll say?
If you open it up, I don't know who's going to look at it, but it seems like indecipherable depending on who looks at it. Like, you're not able to make any sense out of it. As a cleric, it doesn't look like any divine. It looks more like, I don't know, math and a formula and instructions, and you're just like, there's like
Ethan will look
runes,
at it.
runes and stuff. You're just like, what? Yeah.
Jug reaches in the pocket and pulls out a tiny pair of reading glasses and holds it up to look at the paper.
So they look much
So it
clearer.
doesn't read.
Yeah, they look like clearer math and runes and formulae and so forth. Yeah.
Jug hand to Tiny Man. Tiny Man read.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Yeah. Is Ethan familiar with the spell Magic Missile?
He doesn't have that spell now.
Has he seen it anywhere, or is he? Basically, you can conclude reading it that it's a magic missile, scroll of magic missile, but it seems a little more powerful than you've heard of such a thing. And what it actually is you can cast it at 3rd level. So if you were to read that scroll, you would fire off a 3rd level magic missile, which I think would give you 6 missiles. So don't you get 4 at 1st level and then 1 for each level above? But yeah, so it's a 3rd level magic missile spell.
Okay. Great.
And it's a wizard spell, so I think you're probably the only person that can use it. And then you have the satchel or the pouch on the belt of the other boss.
Jug will just kind of rip that open, let
Okay.
the contents spill out.
Yeah, so you've got 22 silver, 15 gold, 5 platinum. Very nice ring that has, it almost looks like a shield, like the ring, and then it has like a kind of a shield shape on it, on its face. It's a silver ring and it has turquoise in it. It's very, very nice and shiny.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Jug wants to hand the ring to Ezra, but Ezra's not there at the moment.
Ezra has vanished into the
Do
woods.
that.
Maybe Ezra's gone to the woods for biological reasons.
I think she did suggest we take a break.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. I apologize. Okay. Yeah, we'll just keep rolling here. Because we're gonna try to stop by about 10, just to keep people from passing out. Okay, so it's quiet on the trail. The shadows are long. You've noticed. You're a good 3.5 hours, 4 hours into your trip. You're starting to, you can see how much closer to the mountains you are. You've gone up in elevation. You've got these goblin carcasses, with the exception of the one boss on the right side. Shokoli left that carcass up there. And you've gotten some coin, a few gems, a very nice ring.
Math, but I will let you know how much money we have.
So what would y'all like to do?
Jug gonna do some accounting.
Okay. It's approaching supper time, but it's not quite supper time. So I don't know if the group wants to do like a short rest or stop for dinner or whatever, or press on, whatever y'all would like to do.
Did you say that scroll could cast at 3rd level?
Yeah, it would be a 3rd level magic missile.
3rd level.
Yeah.
If group hungry, Lulu can cook.
And how far are we? Do we think we are away from?
You're probably an
London,
hour to
London?
an hour and a half from Nomengard, give or take.
Oh, well.
They kind of sketched you out a rough map on parchment, and by the sun's reckoning, and you were only in that combat for, not even a minute. You dispatched the goblins. Obviously you took a little bit of a beating, but I don't think anybody was too nervous. This javelin shot's kind of hurt.
Yeah. And a short rest is how long?
In game time, it's like an hour.
Okay.
Would give Lulu could prepare a meal, and you could eat and take a short rest. And if anybody needed to, whatever you get back as a result of taking, it would be an official short rest, like a D&D Beyond short rest. You could click that in your sheet. So whatever would recharge. If anybody wants to roll hit die for hit points, everybody's got 2 hit die.
I don't want to take a rest for sure because I'm hurting really bad.
Yeah, I suggest we take a rest. Why he's gonna pocket the scroll. This scroll is arcane. And he just stuffs it in his back.
Okay.
I mean, I so,
Group want food?
yes, food would be good.
Okay.
Try to describe how it irks with food, or
I'm just kind of curious. Like, what are you gonna make them? You gonna make fire? What do you got going on?
yeah. So Lulu came prepared. She has, I believe me and Sabrina talked about it. If we didn't, I don't remember, but I believe we came packing with like a Spring, you remember it was like a gallon pot or like this like a quart pot?
We decided on a gallon pot.
Yeah. So we carry a gallon pot with us. Like Lulu can make like stews and stuff like that. But if firewood is gathered, then Lulu Lulu would use her druid craft and light a small fire on
Okay.
it.
That wouldn't be hard at all. You know, you're in a wooded, hilly area. There's ample dry boughs and timber and so forth, so you could gather some things. Are you going to stay right there on the trail that you're on to prepare your dinner? How are you gonna do that? Ezra, the party's decided to take a short rest. So if you need to make that adjustment in D&D Beyond, take any hit die, so on and so forth. They found a very shiny ring and some more coin in the remaining goblin boss's pouch, and Lulu's making supper.
While we're taking that short rest,
Mhm.
I think I want to. Hang on, let me get back to my character here. I think I want to cast detect magic as a ritual since I've got time.
Yeah.
See if that ring is magical.
Sure. Yeah, so you see, Ethan, describe for us what a ritual detect magic, like what's your process for your ritual?
So he sits down as he's resting, and he begins to cast this spell. Except this time it takes longer. It's more involved, more hand movements, more murmuring of magic spell or magic words, and he just takes his time and casts and then his spell ends.
Okay. So he does his
Casting
thing,
concludes.
and the ring. Who's got the ring?
Jug was just sort of holding on to it as he was counting up all the gold and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So when you take a look at that ring, Ethan, wrong E. You get a very, very strong sense of abjuration magic. So it glows and emanates, and whatever color or pattern of light indicates abjuration magic. That is what is upon this ring. And I would say also maybe enchantment.
Okay.
Yeah, the ring has been enchanted with abjuration magic.
Would Jug have seen a ring like this before?
I don't know where.
Well, like, he kind of grew up in Suzeo and he robbed a lot of people.
I mean, he recognizes that as not your. It's not just costume jewelry or nice. I mean, that's very clearly a very, very nice item. Very nice item.
The ring is magic.
Should keep it then?
Yes.
Ethan, you would know enough about magical items that you could determine the properties, the powers, whatever the magic is that is imbued in that ring by attuning to it, by possessing it, wearing it. In the case of a ring, you would wear it. In the case of a sword, you'd probably hold it, maybe practice with it. Armor, you'd put it on. So if a person were to attune to that ring, they would wear it for an hour. You wouldn't even have to wear it, just be with it.
Mm-hmm.
And after an hour, you would be able to determine what that ring does. It would be the same as casting and identify. That's kind of how I like to do attunement. Or if you have identify as a ritual, you could do that.
Yep, I have that as a ritual. I can tell you what it does if you like.
Well, Weird Future Man already have scroll. Tiny Dragon already have gems. One of two pretty ladies should have ring.
Find out what it does first, Ethan. Why don't you identify
We
it?
should determine what it is first, I think. So he'll cast. I'll have to hold the ring.
Yeah, I think you need like an owl feather and a pearl or something or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, so you cast your ritual, and again, you see Ethan kind of retreat into himself. He mutters and says some words that none of you probably understand. And you discover that this ring is a ring that will protect its wearer. Whenever that ring is worn, it will raise the wearer's armor class by 1 and add a +1 to all their saving throws. It's a ring of protection +1. So you're probably kind of like, how in the hell do these goblins have this? That's a rare magic item.
Yeah. It's a ring of protection.
Makes this harder to hit.
Yes. Easy makes you better able to resist spells. And things.
That's certainly a good one.
It's rare.
Who's in need of some protection here?
I think you should have it, Ezra.
She just kind of spreads her arms, shows her general, like, muscly, orky, half-orcishness, and her chainmail. I'm doing all right.
Well, there is one of us who wears no armor at all.
You want to wear it? Wear it. Anybody have any opinions?
Shokoli?
Shokali shakes her head. They're not saying much. I have what I need.
You're talking about yourself, aren't you, Ethan?
Of course.
I'm fine with you taking it if everybody else is.
Okay. Ethan can have it.
Must slap that puppy on.
Okay. Yeah, ring of pro +1. Gives you +1 to your AC and +1 to your saving throws.
All right.
Squishy guy gets a little help. All right.
Doing quick math. Jug has like a tiny little notebook, little reading glasses on, and a little piece of graphite. Doing math. With all gold accounted for as well as pretty gems, everyone get 36 gold.
Nice.
Equivalency.
Yeah. If you want to, just for simplicity's sake, break that into some combination of silver, gold, and platinum, makes me no difference as long as it doesn't exceed 36 gold. That's A-okay.
Okay.
Because there were copper, silver, gold, and platinum.
Yeah. It just, for some reason, it equals out to just plain gold pieces in D&D Beyond when you enter it, so.
Yeah. That's, yeah, good. And then I think Lulu got 2 sapphires worth 25 each and 8 quartz each worth 10. And Lulu
No, I
has...
think it was 2 amethysts, each worth
2
25,
amethysts,
and we
yeah.
kept that and gave her tiny little quartzes left
Oh,
over.
okay. I thought you gave her all the gems. Okay. So you got the 8 quartzes, Lulu, and then the 2 amethysts worth 25 each. I think
How
that's...
do I enter that? How would I enter that in my...
I just put gems
Other possessions.
in my notes or other possessions, yeah. There isn't a category for
Oh,
gems.
so say how many there are again and how much they're worth?
8 quartz worth 10 gold pieces each.
Okay.
And Lulu has made dinner. You're in the midst of an hour short rest. Is anybody taking hit die for healing or somebody?
I did.
I am.
Okay, good. Just keep track of that. You can do it right in D&D Beyond as a function of short rest. And it's, the day's getting long. It's probably about 5 p.m. Lulu, what did you make for dinner over the fire?
Lulu with my cats have zoomies right now. With a combination of some carrots and a little bit of broth, She made a very simple like vegetable stew. Nothing crazy, but it'll
Yeah.
do the job.
Road stew.
Yeah.
Adventure stew. Nice. Okay. Pardon my bag crinkling. Dinner made me hungry. All right, so you have a Spartan meal of whatever you brought to drink and a nice, savory, albeit light, vegetable stew, vegetable soup. And you're ready to go. It's 6. Still plenty of daylight. You're probably an hour away. Gonna hit the road.
Should we get moving? Let's see if we can get to our gnome friends.
Okay. So you make your way. The woods get thicker. You're getting into the arms of the Sword Mountains. And just as the map kind of roughly suggests, you do pick up a stream. The trail that you're on kind of turns away to the south, and the stream heads dead east into the mountains. And the mountains are actually south and east, and west. At any rate, so you can follow this stream, and it's a cold, clear mountain stream. There's not a lot of water in it. You know, it's late summer, so it's not any stretch of the imagination a rushing torrent. It would be tough to fish in. You know, it's more like pools here and there. Not a ton of moving water because the rocks are big enough to, you know, when the water level goes down. But the further up the stream you go, the more it's moving. And it gets to be about, in places, 12 to 15 feet wide. And the way you came in, I don't know which side of the stream you want to be. Really doesn't matter as far as that goes. But you follow the stream for, you know, a good hour or so, and you get up into this deep cleft, and you're at the base of the Sword Mountains, and they rise high above you. They're brown peaks. Being in summer, they're not high enough that they would have snow on them year round. But they're pretty high. But you follow the stream, and it cuts its way in, and you get into this sort of concave shaped, almost like a egg shape, and it opens into this large pool. And as you enter into this area, you know, the stream is about 10 feet wide at this point. Looks like it could be anywhere from 3 to 5 feet deep. And this area is like all dug out, and at the far end, you know, from the entrance, I'd say about 150 feet in, there's a waterfall, and it's beautiful, and it's dropping out of some place, maybe 60 feet up above, out of the mountain wall, out of the mountain face, and it's just like a veil just drops. And behind it, through the mist, you can see a rope bridge that's anchored about 20 feet on either side above the level of that pool. And you can see anywhere from 20 to 30 feet above this big pool are 5 different places. As you're looking at as you're on the stream, looking into into this concave, sort of carved out canyony cave thing. There's 3 openings on the left. The first one is about 30 feet up, and it looks like there's actually a path that winds its way, switchbacks up into that cave opening. And then just beyond that, there's another one, but it's just a sheer 20-foot cliff. And then the back cave opening, is where one end of the rope bridge is. And about 35 feet across this pool, 20 feet up, there's another cliff and a cave opening. And then there's a cave opening about 30 feet high on your right, on the right side of the pool. And what's really weird is on the inside of this big pool, there are 2 small islands. And by small, I mean like maybe 20, 25 feet long, 10, 15 feet wide. They're not big at all. But the strangest thing is there's like these colored something growing on there. One of the islands has got like a sea of like red and green little knobs growing on it, and the other one's got kind of purplish and green little knobs growing all over it. And it's a very mystical. The waterfall is pretty loud. There's a fair amount of water going over, so it's got a pretty good roar, especially as you get up into the cleft, where you have the walls on either side of you, and the walls are probably about 15 to 20 feet away from the stream, and they go sheer up. Okay, so you go into this, and they're probably 60, 70 feet up, and then it kind of steps off and gets up into the mountains, right? And so that's what you're confronted with, and you're confident based on the napkin drawing, right, the parchment map. Caves. And you're on the side of the stream that has the trail that leads up to the other, the first kind of on your left, up 30 feet to the cave mouth. The other ones you're not sure. You'd have to scale the face in order to get up there. Oop, we're enjoying our weekly stream disconnection. I don't understand that. So what would you like to do? Shokoli is kind of like really taken with the beauty of this place.
Quick question for the DM. I can't remember if it's like D&D canon that gnomes and kobolds don't get along. Is that right?
I guess it could be.
I don't know. It might be 3.5. I don't remember.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not.
It's 5e.
Yeah.
If that's
Yeah.
the
I mean,
case,
that's a
Lulu
typical. You know, you may be a little apprehensive, like, oh, gnomes.
Well, Lulu doesn't care about gnomes, but gnomes care about her maybe. But Lulu and apprehension is just gonna go in Ryfan's bag on her hip.
Okay. Yeah. So Lulu scrambles over and vanishes into your satchel. It is still probably a good 2.5 hours of daylight, but you notice in this concavity that the sun does not reach in here, so it's dark. With the exception of around the cave mouths, it looks like there's 2 oil lamps or some kind of lamp burning at each cave mouth, like one on each side.
So Griffin has dark vision, so does that mean she can kind of see in there pretty well?
Yeah, but you're a little ways away. I would assume. Did you guys come like at least to the mouth of the concavity, the mouth of the opening, where the pool kind of starts? The stream goes in about 20 more feet and then opens up into the pool once you get to where it narrows to kind of enter the concavity. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're still a good
Yeah.
60 feet away from where you're standing even on the same side that you look at that little trail that goes up into the cave mouth about 3 stories up. You could just see darkness there. And with dark vision, you don't really see anything in there. Just looks like a cave entrance. And it kind of vanishes back into the hill. Again, being this far away and down, in an angle from 30 feet, you could have supervision and you wouldn't see a whole lot. I just made up supervision. I don't know what that is.
I think Jug's gonna take the time to slowly shift back into far less intimidating Solana.
Okay, so you all see Jug shift, transform, and Solana is among you now. Shokoli is very interested, and they watch very closely. Not in a judgmental way, more of a curious, thoughtful.
Oh, right. I forgot to tell you.
We learned something about Solana while you were sleeping on the roof.
Yes, I'm a changeling.
What is changeling?
Don't tell anyone, it's a secret.
I can change my shape into many different forms. Although I don't really get any like I can't speak Draconic when I'm a dragon or
You
that
can
sort of thing.
you can be
Well,
dragon.
I look like an elf right now, but I don't have dark vision.
You can be dragon.
Dragonborn.
All right. Okay. It's like they're trying to process. Like, do I know what this? Because you all know Shokoli is from a land very far to the south, very different from here. And you've caught them kind of trying to process a little bit, like, ooh, is that like this would be back in my homeland? That kind of thing. And actually, Shokoli walked in silence all the way here from the site of the battle with the goblins. And from time to time, you'd see them looking at that goblin totem. And then they'd kind of put it back inside of their robes or cloak, whatever they wear.
They're just sort of staring there, just standing there, just staring at Solana.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
What's the word?
Pineapple?
There you go. That's her in the head.
But you already know me.
You never know. So she just sort of grins at you.
I feel like this is your weird attempt at a joke and I'm not quite getting it.
I mean, after all, a safety word is a safety word.
I don't know why I tried. I'm supposed to straighten up and walk away and jump into the buildings.
I mean, I think you're really funny and nice. Sorry.
As you enter kind of into the opening of this, where it narrows, where the stream enters this concavity, and you get closer to the base of the first cliff where the switchback path is that leads up, you can see now you're close enough. You're probably still a good 50 feet from the edge of the first island. And those red and green things that you see, kind of those stubs, those little things growing on the island, they're actually mushrooms. And they're a bright red and a bright green on one island. And on the island that's deeper into the pool, up closer to where the rope bridge is, those are purple and green mushrooms. And the island's just like covered with them. And they're about 2 feet tall. They are big honking mushrooms with fairly good sized caps. And they're just all over these two islands. And it's just the sound of the waterfall. If any of you have to speak right now, you have to kind of yell to be heard because, it's a 60-foot drop. And there's this beautiful mist that kind of washes across the rope bridge is about 15, 20 feet out in front of where the waterfall drops into the pool. And everything, all the rock on the walls, the closer you get to the waterfall, the wetter the rock is from all the mist. It's really quite magnificent little place.
Alana's probably just yelling something about the interesting life cycle of fungi, but no one can hear. Over the waterfall. They're neither technically dead or alive, and their state of existence is quite fascinating. It's like, no one's probably caring.
All right, so we are at the start of Nomengard. You've arrived. Would this be a good spot to stop for everybody? It's 9:45. What do y'all think?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Maybe
that
when
makes sense.
maybe next week. Hopefully, Abby will be able to join us. And you are at the mouth of Nomengard. What's odd is you're here at this settlement, but there's no activity. You don't see any gnomes about. You don't really hear much. But then again, with the waterfall, pounding up there, if you were to hear something, it would have to be something pretty damn loud to get over the sound of the waterfall. Like they could be in there yelling at each other, and you probably wouldn't hear them out here. But yeah, so you are officially at Nomengard, and we'll stop right there. So, excellent. Let's do this. Let's just take a quick. Just making a note here. Let's just take a quick round the horn. Tell us where we can find you, what you're up to with your gaming life or whatever else, and we'll start with Ethan. Why don't you go first, Chris?
Sure. You can find me at WikiVA on Discord and Twitch. My Twitter is below. This is my D&D life. I'm up to nothing else other than this.
Nice, very good. All right, Ms. Misery, Ezra.
I'm here on every Wednesday night, and I am on Cradio Down's channel every Saturday. My Twitter handle is my name down below with a underscore after it. That's all for me.
Very good. All right, Logic.
I'm basically here over at Craniodad's channel on Saturday, and quick shout out to the Speechless Bard, which is a combination of the Gilded Archive and Lefty Games. They supply cool stuff like click-clack tubes for your dice, or really cool bracelets that are just basically indestructible. So definitely a small company that merged together worth checking out.
Cool. Very nice. Okay, Bryphon Sango-chan.
Well, I really am only on Discord and here on Wednesdays. I don't really do much, so.
Very good. Well, we're glad that what you are doing, you're doing it here with us. So awesome. And last but not least, dear sweet Lulu.
I'm really only here on Wednesdays. And I'm writing everywhere else, so that's all.
All right, very good. Awesome. So I'm Wily Hobbit, and I'd like to thank everybody for hanging out. I put a couple of announcements in the chat. We've got our first ever virtual Greyhawk Con coming up first weekend in October. That's a ways off. It's like, well, a little over a month, I guess, probably about 7 weeks away, 6 weeks away. Pretty stoked about that because I'm going to be hosting a game. It's basically a weekend of Greyhawk, the original Gygaxian setting of D&D. But I'm going to be running a one-shot on Saturday, October 4th. You can click on the website link in chat to register for the con. And I think they charge like $2 because that's the cost that the virtual con platform requires us to charge. But I think I still have one seat left in my game. And that'll be running on Sunday, October 4th, right here on this Twitch channel, Foul Crypt of the Mountain Kings. So if you want to do that, there's still a seat left for that. And like I said, we play here normally 7 p.m. We may be adjusting that on Wednesdays. We also play 1 p.m. on Sundays, little Pathfinder Greyhawk. And then on Mondays, starting this coming Monday, the 31st, we're going to kick off our Mysteries in the Dalelands game. Set in Daggerdale. So looking forward to that. Bunch of new people to my channel playing some D&D together. So I'm going to set up a quick raid. And I think we will go raid Lord Gazumba. He is a big-time Greyhawk dude. They're talking legends and lore tonight. The Circle of Eight and other great spellcasters is the topic. So we're going to fire that raid off. I'd like to thank everybody for hanging out tonight in chat. Thank the players for a great game. And we are going to go raid. So we'll see you next week. Thank you all very much for hanging out.